In today's lesson, we are going to work with main idea and details in a book. This week, you had to read famous landmarks. Hopefully, you have followed the 4 things that we talk about when we are about to read a book. Number 1, we read the title. Number 2, we look at the pictures. Number 3, we predict. What do we think this book is going to talk about? We can look inside, look at the pictures. Number 4, we ask ourselves, what type of book is this? Is it fiction or nonfiction? Nonfiction books like this one give us information that is true. With true books, we can find the main idea of the book, and then as we read the book, we can find the details. Here I have another book that you have not read yet. But when we look at the title, we see that it says, Clothes Long Ago. So we predict that this book is going to talk about the clothes, look at the picture, the clothes that the people wore long ago. So here, this title says famous landmarks. We can say that this book, the whole book, is going to talk about famous landmarks. Things on the land that are famous. What are the details? Well, the first thing that they're talking about is a bridge. And it says right here, this bridge is a landmark. That's a detail. Here it goes to talk about another bridge. Some buildings are landmarks. Here, it tells us that the buildings are landmarks. The next page says, this lighthouse. So now we're talking about the lighthouse. Next page. This mountain is a landmark. In the next page, it talks about, do you know this landmark? The statue. The statue is also a landmark. Here on the last page, it gives us a map. And it says, if we can find the landmarks on the map. And I see that this map is not of the whole world. It is only of the United States. So this whole book not only talked about famous landmarks, but talked about landmarks in the United States. So for your activity, here's what I want you to do. I want you to get a paper. You're going to open your hand on the paper And you're going to trace your hand nice and big. It does not have to follow your fingers. That way, we can write inside our hand. This hand is going to be like our book. The whole hand here in the middle, this is your main idea. And your main idea talks about famous landmarks in the USA, in the United States of America. Each one of your fingers is going to be a detail from the book. So we'll go back to the book and we'll start at the beginning. First, it talks about the bridges. The bridges are a landmark. The bridge is a landmark. Same thing here. The second detail is talking about buildings being a landmark. So my second finger is going to say buildings. The next detail talks about a lighthouse being a landmark. The next page talks about mountain being a landmark. And at the end, statues can be a landmark. Your main idea is the palm of your hand, and your details are the fingers. Now you can color your hand, you can cut it out, you can trace your letters if you want in different colors, so that you remember that books have a main idea, which is the whole book, and then they have details, which are things that they told us in the book.